Hello viewers and welcome to part 3 of this Player Career Mode Wishlist with me, Bromo18. If you have yet to see part 1 and part 2 of this wishlist series, be sure to go and check them out first and then come back to this video, as there are a lot of things you will have missed out on. We will be recapping, but it won't be in the depth that we have covered in those past videos. On that note, let's recap on what we covered in part 2 of this series. So in part 2 we talked about my player but the customization options. I discussed the potential additions of being able to select your player's favoured clubs and hometown, which would impact on different scenarios. Also talked about different hairstyles and being able to have more freedom in choosing how your hair could look back and sides and also at the top, just like in Pro Evolution Soccer. On top of that, we discussed the potential addition of tattoos that has been much demanded from the FIFA community in Player Career Mode and also pro clubs, etc. in FIFA in general in recent years. On top of that, I suggested how it would be better if you could start from the age of 16 rather than starting as 20 and 21, because you're missing out on 4 important years of development and 4 years of that career mode. Next, we also discussed potentially changing and adding new positions, because you can only play in one position and the AI manager lacks the intelligence to be able to rotate you into different positions anyway, depending on the team's needs. After that, we also discussed being able to choose idols that you may have, and that then led into our next area of subject, which was scenarios. In scenarios, the different examples that we discussed were when you came back to your supported club or your former club with a good relationship, you would get a good reception, but if it was a bad relationship, then you would receive a bad reception. That was similar to if you came back to an old rival club or the rival club of your supported team, you would receive a bad reception from the fans. You could also swap shirts at the end of games and then add the shirts to your virtual trophy cabinet, which we are still yet to get into, but we will very, very soon. And finally, we discussed how there could be different rumours formed from different news outlets and social media outlets, which could then end up developing into storylines. And that brings me nicely into the first category in today's wishlist episode, and that is storylines. Now, as I mentioned before, storylines are more than scenarios. They are actually an expanded version. They span longer time and distance. They can be affected. They produce a narrative in the game mode, and it's first of all worth noting that with the addition of storylines, you would actually have the ability to be able to produce speech for your player and make decisions that would alter the course of your career. Now, this may seem extremely far-fetched, but I absolutely disagree. EA actually have the technology available for this. They actually own BioWare, which produced both Mass Effect and Star Wars: The Old Republic. Now, for any of you who've actually played those games, you will know the technology is definitely there. In Mass Effect, it's an offline game predominantly, where you play the part of a pre-created character, either John Shepard or Sarah or Sean Ryder, and then you are able to make decisions in an open world environment which will impact the course of the story, and you choose your own speech. Now, EA's response to this might be, which was also the reason why they made the Journey a pre-created character in Alex Hunter, was that it would be much harder to have your own created person and develop that sort of storytelling where you could impact the overall direction of the narrative and also the speech. But that is absolutely not true, because they have Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is an MMO game which has the same features, i.e. being able to choose your own speech and being able to affect the direction of the narrative with your decisions, but it is with your own created character. So they can definitely implement this, and this is, in my opinion, the direction which Player Career Mode has to go. Now, an example of a storyline could be perhaps a rift with the manager or the teammates. The manager might not be playing you, or might be playing you in the wrong position, etc. You may have said things about his tactical decisions in the press which he doesn't agree with, and that forms a rift and friction between you, and it carries over and this will, you know, span a length of time that, you know, could end up seeing him sacked or could end up seeing you leaving the club, etc. Same with teammates. Perhaps you're not getting on in training, you're not getting on with them on the pitch, and this could impact performances, and also spills out into the media as well. On top of that, another storyline example would be where your transfer request is denied, and then in retaliation to that, you don't turn up for training. We've seen this quite recently. If you're watching this around the release date, you know, Riyad Mahrez, when he didn't get his move to Manchester City, the next couple of days at Leicester, he didn't turn up for training. So, you know, in the wake of trying to force through a move, Virgil van Dijk's another one. He did that at the start of the season for Southampton, which didn't pay off initially, but ended up paying off a few months later in the January transfer window. So, yeah, that would definitely be an element which they should definitely explore. Next up is perhaps some sort of scandal involving you on social media, maybe a controversial tweet that you've put out, and people have got hold of it, and from then on, you know, you're getting a lot of criticism from fans, the media, maybe fined wages, stuff like that from the club, you're dropped from the team, etc. All sorts can be of consequence for, you know, the actions that you take. Again, this would really help push the career mode in a fantastic direction, that we, you know, would see more immersion than ever, and more people wanting to play it than ever before. Perhaps in light of your rift with the manager, you decide to go directly to the board in order to gain support over the manager. Maybe you and a few players have decided to do that because you don't like the direction he's taken the team. You give it laughed out of town, or maybe they side of you, they put pressure on the manager. Maybe they just sack him outright. You all have a meeting together. All sorts can happen. We've seen many instances of it happen in real life, and there's no reason why it can't happen on Player Career Mode as well. Another potential element of friction is between you and the fans. This is regular in the football world. We see a lot of players have this sort of tension with fans over various different things. Perhaps you've tweeted things about them, perhaps they feel like you're not showing them the respect that they feel they deserved as you know, hard-working fans who are paying money to come and see you, and you know, that could span onto the pitch. Maybe you're getting some form of negative comments, replies on social media, you're getting booed by your own fans at games, etc. Little things like that puts a little bit of pressure on you, and adds another storyline element to the game. So those are just a range of storyline examples, but they give you the general idea of, you know, the direction I sort of want to see it taken. Be sure to comment any more that you feel could be added, could be, you know, put into the game mode. There's definitely a whole range of stuff that we could see, and it'd be really interesting to see where they could take it. The next category of improvements would be player progression. Now, this has been a bit of a dark area because there's been a lot of problems in this sort of area which EA have formed of their own doing, and a lot of the fans have been disappointed, myself included, with the way this has gone down. Now, what I mean by this is that a couple of years ago, FIFA 17, EA Sports introduced the player progression system on pro clubs, which was totally overhauled. There was no more accomplishments. It was all done through this new player growth system, which was fantastic. It was much better than the accomplishment system, in my opinion. But then they decided not to change it in Player Career Mode. Now, why is that? Why would you not implement it both in pro clubs and Player Career Mode? I do not understand that one bit. I think, you know, that essentially just displayed EA's intentions of having, you know, well, not having any, essentially, of improving Player Career Mode in any sense. You know, they've clearly just left it on the side. They've ditched it and left it to die out, and it's such a shame. But, you know, I'm going to suggest the improvements anyway, and that would be the change from accomplishments to the pro clubs progression system. You know, why not? It surely must be fairly easy because you've got the technology already in the game. Just put it onto the offline game mode, and, you know, I think we'll all be happy, really. Next up would be to purchase traits with trait points that are earned, and also the addition of different traits. We discussed in the first episode about a potential leadership trait. Different things like that would be really good. Maybe a fan favourite trait, now that we're suggesting all these sort of different range of improvements to, you know, relationship with the fans, etc. Things with the negotiating, perhaps you could have a trait where your player is more likely to receive bigger offers in terms of contract offers and wage, because of the fact that the trait will be a key player, etc., a star player. So you attract the bigger offers, the bigger bucks, because clubs want you more. So little things like that, if we could purchase them with trait points rather than earning them through different accomplishments, etc., that would be great as well. And finally, in the player progression system, I want to talk about the training. Now, the training in Player Career is that of normal career mode, and that's just you have 5 slots each week, and you can put your player in there, and it will train different attributes. This is it's so boring, to be honest. I really don't see the point of it. Instead, I think it needs to be altered into a way that's similar to that of the journey. Obviously, it would slightly improve your attributes and stuff, but the main reasoning behind it would be to affect your standing in the team, and I think that's what's going to make people want to play it more as well, because you might be tempted to sim training, you're getting a bit bored of it, etc., but you know that that might have a negative impact on, perhaps it will make you perform poorly in training, and then as a result you're not playing in the first team squad on the Saturday or whenever it is you're playing. So more people will want to do that, and it'll be good, that'll be more of a challenge, because you can still drop out the squad even though you're perhaps 88 rated, you're the best player in the team. So yeah, that would be really nice. Be good to add another challenge to the career mode. On that note, guys, that brings us to the end of this video. There is one more part to go. It is a 4-part series. This is the end of part 3, so one more to go. Be sure to get your suggested improvements in, as I will be adding them into part 4 of this installment as well. We still have quite a bit to talk about, so that will be a fairly long episode, so I look forward to doing that. If you've made it through to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. The wishlists have been by far the most popular things on my channel so far. I've really enjoyed doing them, and there's still a few more to come, so hopefully we can get into that. Still some other stuff to come as well. Hopefully people will tune into that as well. But yeah, guys, on that note, that is now the end of this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really do appreciate it, and ring that bell as well to make sure that you get notifications on a regular basis whenever I upload. And on that note, I've been Bromway18, and I will see you very soon.